And so we have one more presentation, just a short presentation, which actually links with our groups this afternoon. And this is from Dr. Irena Bezić, who is the current president of the European Association for Psychotherapy and a Gestalt psychotherapist involved in a lot of training and work in Croatia. Irena.
So thank you for the presentation. And I think for this situation, it is important to know that I was working long years, more than 10 years, in the war in our countries in this part of the Europe. But first of all, I would really like to say thank you to the great presentations being done by Halyna and Mykhailo. I think they are great, and perhaps we can put it on the website of EAP, or at least some link to these presentations in English, so that everybody can see what is going on and how the competences of the Ukraine therapists are high, meeting this high traumatization of children in Ukraine. My contribution is completely from the different perspective. So it is an old war and old times where our war was going on. But there are some experiences which I think are still accurate and valuable. And one of these is that there is a number of very highly traumatized children, like it was shown especially in the presentation of Halyna. But on the other side, there are thousands and hundred thousands of children who are traumatized by being in the war. And as far, did I switch language? No, let me see.
I think you're okay.
I'm okay?
Yeah.
Okay, because there was something good. So in our war, there were also thousands of children, and we realized that as a psychotherapist, this is not possible to reach all of them. And then we developed a lot of programs and booklets and handbooks and so on, with the suggestions how to play with the children, how to do small steps towards handling the trauma of all these kids, and which can be done also by the people who are not the therapists, but who are teachers, who are librarists, who are people who like to play with children. And we thought the knowledge of the psychotherapists can be spread and can be shared. And when we were talking about this in our program board, then I told that we developed some booklets about this, and then the people from the board said, okay, let's share it now in this frame as well. One step before is that it is a simple thing, and there are small steps. But if you take in account what Halyna said also, that the work in the war circumstances with the children is very exhausting and tiring, and especially if the second year of the war comes and perhaps the war would move on, the people lose energy. They get exhausted, they get tired, sometimes empty, sometimes burnout. And it's great that you are getting all this help of supervision from abroad. The other step would be to be enthusiastic about the small steps. Sometimes if you do a small thing, it changes the system, and especially for the children who are, all these children around who are not getting any help, the small steps are very important. As you know, the children are coping with the reality by playing. The children in the war, they have to cope with the really bad things, with the losing their homes, with seeing people dying, with losing the members of the family, fear about father being on the front, and so on. So these are hard things, and sometimes, especially in these camps, refugee camps, or the camps for the children, as you described, you have, they are playing, of course, by themselves. And in this play, there's a lot of repetition of the traumas they went through. And sometimes they really help to include in this game positive stuff. It is difficult because the adults are also a little bit crazy in these circumstances, and they themselves are so much occupied with the negative reality around them. So it needs an effort to concentrate and help children make these positive games. It is very important so that they can create this good object, internal good object in themselves. They can use their creativity to make things better. So it is also giving them hope that it is not all about bad things in life, but they can move on. So, for example, in one of the handbooks we made for the children in the schools, there was one suggestion for a workshop where the children were giving instruction to first draw a picture about last nice summer holidays they had. Then they had a picture of something which really bad happened now in this wartime. Then was a picture about my best friend, like pet, like cat, like a friend, like a toy, like whatever. And so it was one picture, another picture, and then we said, this is like a film of your life. So there are good pictures and there are bad pictures, so that they have this idea, the life is going on. It is not staying just in the trauma. So from this suggestion for the work in the small group, that was the first thing we developed in Croatia. So, and there was a kit with materials and this booklet with ideas for work with the children. And it was financed by UNICEF at that time. And it could be sent in the farthest village in the country. They had everything what they need. They could do it. It was just important to have a warm place together and do it. So after this, we developed programs for the schools, from libraries. And from this first one, which you already got in your mail, there is this game, there's a story about this draft Florian, who helps the children and talks with them. And it is nice to have this story when outside is a winter time like now, and you have a lot of these bare branches with no leaves, no flowers on it. And the children could help the draft and help the cat and help to each other to make reality a little bit more colorful than the reality is. Doing with this modeling mass in different colors, they could put the flowers on this bare branch, and it is just a picture of the change is possible, and we can add to the positive side of life for a moment. But these moments are very important not to sink into this dark reality they are in. So it's like holding hope for the children and giving them possibility to contribute themselves to the light, to this good side of life. You have these games, and everybody can do it, and to play with children in this way is a little step, but important step, because it is difficult to hold the good side when the catastrophes from the war are piling up, and you have the much more than the good sides of the life. There was another thing. What I wanted, what I'm talking is just the practical stuff, how to work with children and how to do some steps. So it is, I think the main step, what we did at that time, we did a very concrete instructions for the people, for the teachers, for the lay people who could use some of the therapeutic knowledge and therapeutic techniques and work with the children is in the workshops in the class or in this library. So there is, we have a lot of books, but on this or handbooks, and I can just, and then I think it is possible that you can use it in Ukraine as well by printing and distributing your own games for children. In one of our books, there were games in a few categories. That was for the 10 to 13-year-old children, and so we have one category was communication and affirmation, and then 4 workshops, and then reduction of trauma impact, 4 workshops, conflict resolution, 4 workshops, and so on. So this, and you have your ideas as well. So to put it like this, give it to the teachers as a complete instruction. Some, if they are in the towns where you have material, you don't have to send them like UNICEF did, and then they can work on it. And for the children, it's very important to have a possibility to express and not being left with a traumatic experience, but having also some activities which will build up resilience, which will build up power for self-help and for a constructive and creative way of going on with this. Because if the children get an idea, this is terrible what we are living in, and there is no way out. I mean, just the military can save us. This is for children not such a good idea, because they have this life and they have to live now. And in this now, they are finding their ways how to play and how to survive. And then if we add to this, it can just be good for them. There is another big project which was done in Croatia at that time, and which was called Step to Recovery. So it was done with 4,000 children in many schools, many libraries. And the topics in this project, it is the same thing. There are categories of topics and then developed workshops for the certain topic. So this was for a little bit older children, but also 13, 14, 15, this age. So it went with power and hope and helplessness, then trust, mistrust, anger and kindness, security and fear, grief, joy, innocence, guilt, revenge, love and friendship. And then we had one which was called Poetry of Life and Death. And it was done in the nice way, talking about that, because this is the topic for the children too, but always in the way that you have a light and dark side of life. So I just wanted to, I was thinking, shall I say something or not in this presentation? I worked a lot with children at that time, and I do understand why the people from the Second World War doesn't want to talk about the war. It is for me also difficult to participate with my own experiences of 30 years ago, because it really stays. But I thought these were the good ideas, and I'm sure you can use it and develop games for the children of Ukraine on your own. So that was just a few short things which I wanted to say. And then I think it was a good idea to add this our first games in this suggestion for the work with children in small groups. I think this is it. I mean, I compared with these great projects, really great projects, what the Halyna was shown, I think you have really a good professional background and books and everything in Ukraine already, but still perhaps some old experiences can help. I can even give you a reference to this. I found in English, I mean, they are all in Croatian, the books, but I found one reference in English, and I said Martina's can you just put, I wanted to write it down in the chat, but then I was talking with Martinas and he said, yes, now it is coming. This is the reference which you can, from this project for this 3,000-4,000 people, children from the school. And it was published in 1999. So you can download it for free and have a look and have more information about it. So we have a few minutes more. If there is any question, good time for that.
Okay, thank you, Irena. And I think it's inspiring, this idea about the games which children can play and the ways in which they can be so positive and so helpful, and drawing on your own experience of your time of war. So thank you. And this is something we're suggesting really that you might wish to talk about this in your groups, but also the groups are a very important part of this day, this symposium day, because they offer the opportunity for communication between Ukrainian psychotherapists and European psychotherapists. So we also understand that you may just choose the discussions that you wish to have in the groups this afternoon. So I think we're drawing the morning session to a close now, and I would first like to thank the interpreters, because I think the work that you've done this morning has been so intense and very demanding. It's the words that you have been translating are very demanding emotionally, and also demanding from a professional point of view, particularly Mykhailo's presentation. That's very technical, scientific, research, medical language that you are translating for everyone. So it's a very big task that you are taking on. And I just want to say to the translators that your work is really important to us today, but because all of the videos of the symposiums are going onto 3 different websites, actually, they're going onto the European Association for Psychotherapy website, they're going onto the Ukrainian Umbrella Association for Psychotherapy website, and they're also going to our own symposium website, which is the same website that you all registered on for this event today. They're there in all the translations. So the work that you're doing actually makes all of this available to everyone who wants to look at it in the future and access it in their own language. So your work is powerful indeed and will continue. So thank you so much to the translators. And thank you to all of our speakers for all of the rich and deep presentations this morning. As you go for lunch, please will you everyone leave your connection with the symposium in place. If you want to, you can stop your video. You can choose, you can keep your video on or keep your video off, but please don't leave the symposium, because what will be happening whilst we're at lunch is that Martin will be organizing everyone into groups based on language and being able to do translations within the groups. And so he needs us all to have our connection with the symposium in place in order that he can put us all into groups. And when we come back at 1:45 Central European Time, Martin will just give you all the information for how you will go into groups, and then we'll have the group, a short break, and the round table of all the speakers. That will be this afternoon's program. So I wish you a good lunch and see you at 1:45 Central European Time. Bye-bye.